Good day, everyone, and trust we are all doing good today. All right, so welcome to My Unburden Hub, where your healing journey begins. And we are glad to have everyone on this live session. We are glad to have you all here, and we are grateful that you all are joining us in this new year, and we are grateful to God for all of that. So basically, this is our first quarterly session webinar of the year, and we're not just grateful for this, we're thankful for where my onboarding hub has been, where my onboarding hub is going, and for every one of you that will be following this live session. So without delaying this, without taking our time, without further ado, we are going to be going to why we are here today. Basically, we're going to be going to all that we have scheduled today. And if you have been following us on our social media, you would have been aware we have a powerful webinar session for you all today. You're going to be aware that we have an amazing session for you today, and not just us, not just my body. No, we are partnering with one of the biggest mental health organization in Nigeria, basically. And yes, if you have been following us, you know the title of our webinar is Thriving, Not Just Surviving Daily Practices, Practical Tools for Everyday Mental Wellness. The world is going through a lot, and we as individuals, we need to be on the top of everything to make sure that we are good mentally and physically. And my onboarding hub is here to sort out the mental part of this journey. All right. Basically, once again, we're not going to be taking your time, and it's going to be a very quick webinar. We're just going to be sharing some tools. My name is Marvelous Ayomide, and I am the admin and operations manager of my onboarding hub. And as I said earlier, we're partnering with one of the biggest mental health firm, which is the Sunshine series, and they've graced us with a wonderful person. They've graced us with somebody good at what she does, somebody brilliant, somebody gifted in multiple talents, and is no other than Miss Annabelle. I'm going to be bringing her shortly to the stage. And yeah, Miss Annabelle, if you can hear me, please, can you
Yeah, I
introduce
can
yourself
hear
briefly?
you. Hi. Good evening, everybody. It's so good to be here with you guys today. I have been hyped beyond. I'm feeling really special this evening. I'm from the Sunshine series. We are a mental health organization, one of, like he said, one of the leading ones in Nigeria. And we are focused around bringing emotional and mental well being to Nigeria and beyond. So, we're going to be
All right.
talking about, yeah, sorry, go on.
All right, thank you, Miss Annabelle. As I said, she's beautiful, she's smart, she's intelligent, and now we can all see that. So now, without further ado, we are going to be going diving right into the topic as we have said. And once again, the topic is thriving, not just surviving daily practices, practical tools for everyday mental wellness. And one of the things that has crossed my mind while we're researching this topic, while we're trying to make sure that we serve our clients, our followers, the maximum benefit of this webinar. One of the things that came to my mind is, what does striving, not just surviving, means in the context of mental health wellness, Miss Annabelle?
Okay. Well, so first of all, we have to think about it like we have to define surviving and we have to define thriving. When we're surviving, we're basically pushing through every day. We're checking the checklists, we're doing what we need to do, we're being where we need to be at. So to the average person, to everyone in front of us, it looks like we're doing the best, we're doing our best at life, and we're showing up where we need to show up. But the truth is that beneath all that, beneath our exterior, on the inside, things are things are not going as it seems. We are usually emotionally exhausted. We are just coping. We're not really feeling anything beyond, like, beyond our mind being set on a goal. We're not feeling the emotions behind our actions. We're not taking in the things that we've done for the day and appreciating what we've done. We're basically just coping. We're like we're surviving, we're coping, we're just trying to check the check boxes, trying to show up, but we're not really living life the way we're supposed to be living life. Now, thriving is being aware. You know, it's like instead of reacting to life, we're responding to life when we're thriving. With thriving, we're aware of the things we're doing, where we are aware of the actions we're taking, and we are aware of how these actions are affecting us internally. You know, we
Okay, can you hear me can you hear me properly?
yes, can you hear me?
Yes, your network was breaking in between, but yes,
Oh,
I'm following.
sorry. So yes, so with thriving, we're no longer in that constant cycle of stress. We're more aware of our emotions. We are more in control of our emotions. We're no longer reacting to life, we're responding to life, because when you're thriving, you are at the forefront of things. You're on top of things. When something is happening, like a big emergency happens, you're not panicking. Instead, you're using the emotional tools you have to react accordingly. So you're solving the issue while also being aware of what you yourself you need, what your body need, what your mind needs. I hope that answers the question.
That was perfect. And one of the things I took note of is being on
Yeah,
top of things.
yeah,
Um I feel like as individuals, as people in the tech space, in the mental health space, we have this urge to always want to make sure that things are being done correctly, things are being done rightly. And sometimes being on top of things can actually be very overwhelming, can actually be very draining. And that's why we need some tools. And this is going to be taking me to the next question on my mind. And is basically what are practical tools or habits that can help individuals like me, like my fellow colleagues and my fellow
yeah,
co-workers, can
yeah,
help us to adopt daily mental and emotional well-being. Like basically that can help individuals to adopt daily to support their mental well-being. Do you understand that? Or should I go over
yeah.
that again?
No, I understand. So
Okay.
there's so many advice out there, and I think there's a lot of good advice. But I think one of the two things I want to stream it down into is mindfulness and routine,
Okay.
because building emotional well-being is not just it's not one big act. You don't have to do one big thing to change how your emotional state of mind is. Building a routine, practicing mindfulness will help you, because they're just little actions that you can do every day. It's not big, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes of your time. Just little things you can build upon every day that can, get you at like a stable state. So mindfulness is basically practicing awareness. It is practicing awareness, being aware of your mind and your body, how they are reacting to the situation around you. It's taking a pause in moments that can feel big and seeing, how do I feel about this moment, and what tools do I have in my bag of, emotional reaction tools? What tools do I have to give to this moment so that it doesn't blow up in my face and I don't feel stressed? That is mindfulness. So basically, um, instead of, if you're in an argument, instead of reacting to what the person is saying, you have to just take a moment, look look at this situation without judgment as well, because I know, for if you're in an argument, it's easy for you to feel like, oh, this person is doing this to me, that's why I'm reacting this way. No, instead you have to look at, okay, this is happening right now, and I am reacting this way. Why am I reacting this way? You're not looking at what this person is doing to you. That's being mindful. Don't look at other people. Don't look at how they are reacting. Don't look at what they are doing. That's none of your business. Look within yourself. Think of your reactions. How can you make your reactions better? Not to please other people, but to reduce the stress levels for you. So now, instead of shouting back at this person you're having an argument with and causing an even bigger emotional stress response for yourself, take a moment and to be like, okay, this person is shouting at me. If I shout back, it will lead to a more stressful situation for me. What can I do to reduce the stress in this situation? I can step back. I can step back from the argument, choose not to respond, maybe circle back with the person on another day so that I do not leave this place feeling bad and feeling drained from wasting all my energy in this argument. That's mindfulness. Now, the next thing is routine. Routine is really good because it gives us stability. It gives us security. When you know that there are anchors in your life, like there's something you're doing at this hour. And when I'm saying routine, it doesn't have to be rigid. It doesn't have to be. We're not working on military time here. It just means a familiar, should I say, a ritual, like a familiar ritual that brings you comfort. It can be a way of winding down in the evening when you're back from work. You come back home instead of going haphazardly around your house before you go to bed. You can come up with a routine that will help you wind down, help you de-stress from your long day. That's a way to help you, like, help you calm down, basically.
Okay, that was awesome. Like I'm actually learning. Like I'm actually learning from you, and this just emphasizes the point when I said I'm bringing somebody very vast and somebody very knowledgeable in the mental health space. And I think one of the key takeaways for me basically is the part of the routine. As somebody that works remotely, I can say sometimes I feel mentally drained. Sometimes I feel mentally stressed out, and the simplest task looks like the whole world to me. Looks like the whole world to me. And I think one of the things I've been doing that I didn't know was a routine, or I didn't know was a ritual in your words, was I just go and lay on my bed, I put in my headset and I play music. And after like 10 or 15 minutes, I sort of just regain the strength to do something, and I go back and I'm being productive afterwards. And I think that's actually one thing we need. And also mindfulness. I can't overemphasize how you broke that down, and I'm very grateful to be here with you because I'm learning. I'm not going to even over emphasize that. Like, yes. So basically, for everybody listening, I'm also sure that while we know that, okay, now these are tools, these are habits I can put in place to learn how to be how to support my mental health, how to support my emotional well-being. Some people might not basically be fortunate enough to be able to know the signs of emotional distress. They might not be able to figure out that, okay, this is how I respond when I'm going through this. This is how I respond. Like they are just ghosted and they don't know how to do that. So I want you to also share is like what are some of the early signs, or what are some of the early um like subtle changes that would be noticed if if we are struggling with our mental well-being, and why is also early intervention also like important, because it's a different thing knowing that this is happening to me, or I'm struggling with this. And it's also a different thing to know, okay, immediately this is going wrong with me. This is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, rightly, as I rightly said, making an example in myself, when I'm overwhelmed and I can't walk currently, basically, I go down to the bed, I lie down, I put in my headset, I listen to a few music. Now, I know that when I'm like that, this is what I'm supposed to do. And this is because of the kind of workspace I am. This is because of the kind of boss I work with. She had made it very convenient for me. So basically, I'm asking not just for myself, but for everyone also listening to this live session, that what are the early signs of emotional distress, and why is early intervention important? You can go on,
Well,
Miss Annabelle.
okay. So one of the signs that you may see, one thing is that a lot of people ignore signs because it's very subtle. It's not a big change, not that big emotional breakdown that you see in the movies. It's small and it comes in the times you least expect it. Like, for example, emotional exhaustion. I know a lot of people
Okay.
say, "Oh, I'm just an introvert. That's why I feel so tired after talking to people." Sometimes it's not just introversion, it's just you are just so exhausted that you can't even give your attention to one more person. You can't invest another ounce um of your emotions to another thing right now. You're exhausted. That's a sign. Then cynicism, which is basically like negativity. When you notice yourself being more negative than you usually are, that is usually a sign that something is going on. Um, what else? Anger. Now, this is not just anger like at people, anger at yourself. You notice yourself being angry for little mistakes that literally anybody else could make, like a mistake that some your colleague could have made and you wouldn't be so mad at it. You find yourself making that same mistake and you just cannot stand it. You start berating yourself and you're wondering what is wrong with me, why will I make such a small mistake. If your colleague made that mistake, you wouldn't be so hard on them, so why are you so hard on yourself? Things like that. Those are the signs we have to look out for. um what else? Yeah, things, basically those signs. There's still more, but it's just like the little changes, like being quiet more than usual. If you're someone that used to talk a lot before and then you find yourself you don't talk as much, you can't really commit to conversations anymore, it's usually a sign that something is happening in beneath, and you need to do some searching. I'm sorry, what was the other question again?
So I also mentioned that like what are the why is early intervention important? Like why do we need to intervene to these things early, basically?
Yeah, well, we need to intervene early because it's like having a fever. If you have a fever, or if you have like if you're feeling somehow, you have an infection. Perfect example. If you have an infection, you go to the doctor, you treat it, because you know that if you don't treat it, it might turn into sepsis and you might die from sepsis. So that's why we need to come early when it comes to things of mental health. You have to recognize the signs, you have to treat it, you have to treat it on time, because it can blow up into something that you'd never expected, and it comes in the least times that you expected. Like, you can just, in times where you think, oh, life is going so great, what could bring me down, you are brought down by depression, by, I don't know, mania, something. So that's why you need to treat it up, so that it doesn't snowball into something bigger than yourself.
All right. That's awesome, Miss Annabelle. I'm just blown away. I'm blown away. I'm blown away. I'm not going to even joke around. Okay, so this next question is very very important to me, and I can say is a little bit particular to me too. And why is it to be particular to me is a few days back I wrote something on my LinkedIn and I spoke about burnout. And why I'm able to speak about burnout was because for the past couple of weeks I had just been constantly exhausted. I don't know. I couldn't really figure out why I'd been like that, but I'd just been worn out. I'd just been burnt out. And I realized I was handling a lot of things, not just work. I had to handle some personal issues and like basically a lot of things. And I was just constantly being burnt out. And I'm grateful it didn't really affect my professional life, but I could tell on my personal life that I was one out and I was just basically running on fumes. And that also moves me to this next questions that how can individuals prevent burnout and emotional fatigue, especially in demanding personal or professional environment? And I'm going to say a few things as regards that too.
Okay.
It's not just about our personal life because we are who we are personally and also at work. And while we might not want to admit, sometimes our personal life also interferes with our professional life. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why we need to always make sure that like personally we are mentally here and also while at work we are also there and doing what we're expected to do. So basically, how can we prevent burnout and emotional fatigue, Miss Annabelle?
I think asking for help. Learn how to ask for help. It is so important. Learn how to delegate as well, especially in the office. If you're lucky enough to have someone like a colleague that can help, just reach out to them, because you cannot handle everything. People always say we're not islands, so we always have to lean into each other. That's why we need community as well. If you learn how to ask for help when you feel things are getting too big, before it gets out of hand. Just reach out to someone, ask them like, please, could you help me do something? If it might feel like a sign of weakness at first, but once you realize that you are basically preventing something even bigger and worse from happening, you will understand that you need help. So yeah, that's my advice. That's my advice. Ask for help. A closed mouth is
Honestly,
a closed destiny. Always ask.
I'm really grateful for that answer because I could remember while I was transitioning into the new year, and I was having a conversation with our executive director. That's Miss in the person of Miss Bosede Oyelake. She said something around this, and she was like, "Marvelous, ask for help." And
Yeah.
at that moment, it didn't really stick. It didn't really stick to my mind. But she was like, "Promise me, you would ask for help when you need help." And now that you are saying it, I'm just resonating on my conversation with her. And one thing I can say is, apart from also asking for help, you should try as much as possible to be in an environment that enables you to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because
Community.
one thing I'm grateful exactly one thing I'm grateful for also is my onboarding hub. They've made it easy to ask for help. And while you were saying this, I was just thinking of different times where I'd asked for help, where I'd needed somebody to sort one or two things for me. And once again, I'm grateful for that answer. It's right on point, is detailed, and it's just as amazing as you have. So that brings me to the next question. How can communities and organizations encourage help seeking and reduce the stigma around mental health? We all know we're in Nigeria,
Yeah.
basically. And if you say mental health, it's two things they link it to. They link it to somebody that is mentally unstable or somebody that is already unstable. And I can remember telling somebody I work with a mental health organization that provides therapy for people with specialized counselors and
Yeah.
therapists. And the next thing the person was saying was that, like, oh, you guys deal with mentally unstable people. And I was like, no, you can get therapy if you want. You could just be having anxiety. And it was like, wow. And I was able to enlighten the person, and I was able to even tell the person, okay, visit our website at myunburdenup.org and just get a session. So basically, I want to ask you, how can communities and organizations encourage help seeking and reduce stigma around mental health?
Okay. So the first thing, and I think it's important, especially for community leaders and organization leaders, is to lead by example. You can't preach to the masses and then not do what you're preaching. So if you want, your community to learn how to ask for help, you can be the first one to start. You start asking for help. Show them that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to seem weak, or it's okay to seem like you can't handle everything all at once sometimes, because that's just how life goes. So first you have to ask for help yourself. And then secondly, you have to, I think, within the community, we have, especially Nigeria as a whole, we have to learn how to not minimize. It's something that we do all the time. We minimize people's pain, we minimize people's experiences, because, here we celebrate being strong, we celebrate suffering in a way. So we have to learn how to not minimize. So if someone is saying, "Oh, I'm having difficulty doing this," and maybe you've done it before and it seemed easy for you, you don't have to say it, because you saying that, you're not encouraging that person to ask for help next time. You're encouraging that person to keep quiet, to be shut off from society. You have to be be more more aware of people's emotions, be more aware of how people may react to your words. So don't go around minimizing other people's pain. Just be more open. And also, I think it's important for as a community that we all check in on each other. I'm not saying do amebo, but check in on each other. Like if you notice that, okay, this person isn't acting like they usually do, they seem a bit down more than usual. Like they seem a bit down, they seem a bit quiet more than usual. Don't be afraid to check in to ask, oh, how are you doing? What's going on? How far? I haven't seen you at this place. I haven't seen you here. It seems like you're scarce now. I hope all is well. Doing small, small things like that encourages people because now they know that, oh, if I'm going through something, there is someone out there who will care enough to listen to me. There's someone out there who will want to know what is happening with me. So they will not go through it alone. They will always think, oh, okay, I have someone out there. I have a problem, but this problem, I don't have to face it myself. There's someone out there who will listen to this problem and help me through this problem. So, yeah. Oh, also,
Okay, that
I would
was
like to
okay.
say that I always encourage, especially community leaders and organization leaders, to do courses in things like psychological first aid. You never know when you will need it. Taking simple courses like that can change the trajectory of things. You may be in a situation where you need to offer that kind of immediate help to someone, so it's always encouraged for you to do that.
Okay. That was really really nice. That was nice, and I picked two things from that conversation, and one of
Yeah.
them being that we must lead by example. That's we must also ask for help, and I like making reference to where I work because it makes it easier for me to relate with things. So
Yeah.
it's great that that's something that we should implement. If you ask for help, you encourage others to ask for help, basically. And he said something about also getting a certification in mental
Yeah.
health and first
Yeah.
aider training. And this also brings my mind back to something we are also working on in my onboarding hub. We are going to unleash it at at probably this mid year or late into the year, basically, but probably the mid of this year. And it's basically a training to empower people to actually become mental health first aiders, to actually encourage the community to accept it, and to also equip us with tools to just make sure that we are delivering as you have said. And on the final question, yeah,
Yeah.
before we call this a wrap, obviously, there's something I saw on your website. I was scrolling through the Sunshine Series website ad, and I saw something that really got my attention. And it says every 40 seconds, someone in the world dies by suicide. And that word struck me personally. And I'm like, so if we can provide therapy for everybody in the world, that means nobody would have to die by suicide. That was the first thing that came to my mind. And I'm like,
Yeah.
we just need to keep enlightening people. We just need to keep pushing mental health out there, because it's more like you being sick, you would run to the hospital. But when you're struggling with your mental health, most people feel like, you'll be fine. Oh, you just need
Yeah.
to relax. Oh, you just need
Yeah.
to eat. Especially guys, they say, "Oga, go and eat. If you eat, you'll be fine." And
Yeah.
and it looks like a joke. It looks like,
Yeah.
are you too? You go and eat now because you feel like if I eat, I'll be fine. But the stuff is still
Yeah.
there, basically. So this brings me to the next question. From your experience as a mental health therapist, as a psychologist, basically, what role does community support playing in long-term mental wellness and suicide prevention? Like, how does the community support long-term mental wellness and suicide prevention from your experience, Miss Annabelle?
Okay. So, like I said before, checking in goes a long way. If you're as members of the community, we have to look out for each other. We have to make sure that no one is being left behind. And doing just a simple act of checking in on each other will encourage people to be more open about what they're going through. Because I always say, like, isolation is truly the devil's playground, not idleness. Being isolated feels like you're backed into a corner, and there's just problems all around you. Without that community member to be there and be like, "Hey, I'm here if you need help," it feels that like there's no other option for you. So being there for one another, it goes a long way. And again, if you're a community leader, I will not stress this. Like, I cannot stress this enough. If you're a community leader, organization leader, you have to take the extra step in, like I said before, being certified in like psychological first aid, or being a lay counselor, because people don't always have access to mental health tools. People cannot always be able to get a therapy session when they're feeling down. So in your own little ways, when you are certified as like a lay counselor, a psychological first aid provider, you are able to be that gap, to be able to fill that gap between the client, a person, and a therapist. So yeah, that's how I think we can help each other.
That was very detailed, and I
Yeah,
like your emphasis. Basically, as you said, on community leaders. Basically,
yeah,
it shows that if we have good leaders, if we have good organization leaders, both the employees, people surrounding them would actually also be doing amazing things. So basically that's all the questions we have for you, Miss Annabelle. Would also want to ask if you have any parting words for us, for everybody watching the live stream. Do you have any parting words for us? Do you have anything to tell us, any key takeaways that, okay, as you guys are going, if you have not even listened to anything, at least take this one along and have a wonderful evening. So like would be expecting that if you have.
um yes, I think that one of the key things I have mentioned today is mindfulness. It's a beautiful thing to practice. You can, after this session, you can go and Google it. It's very simple. There's so many simple exercises that you can practice every day. It helps you build that routine, because everyday practice, it helps you aid your mental health. Mindfulness is super important. It is how you get through your day without any um big fallout. Yeah. And yeah, I think that is the most important thing. Also, certifications. I've said this twice already. I'll say a third time. Community leaders, go get certified because you are bridging the gap that we have in this country. Therapists cannot be everywhere, but we can have people everywhere.
That was awesome. That was awesome. And I'm very, very grateful for this session with you, Miss
Yeah,
Annabelle. I am extremely grateful, and I'm thanking you on all the audiences that are currently watching the live stream, that would watch the live stream in the next few weeks, that watch the live stream in the next 1 month, and even in the next coming years. I also just want to emphasize that, like, things that some of the key takeaways to me was about community building, was about being mindful, was about checking up on people, which is very important. We have this saying, aura for aura, check who
yeah,
checks you, call who calls you. That shouldn't
yeah,
be. That shouldn't be. That
yeah,
shouldn't be. And like you just shed more light on that. That yes, checking on people, be more mindful. Check the subtle signs to make sure that you are fine as a person, and just make sure that yourself and others, you are doing your best for them. So basically, thank you, Miss Annabelle. Thank you, the Sunshine series, because without the Sunshine series, we wouldn't have had somebody as amazing, as beautiful, as smart as you this evening. We are so grateful we are so grateful to the Sunshine series. And also, I want to thank my onboarding up team for also giving me this opportunity. We had a call quickly before this and we shared a few things. So basically, I'm thankful to my onboarding up, and we'll be seeing you next month.
yeah,
February 7, we'll also be having another webinar session, and we expect everyone to be here. If you have not followed us, rather follow my onboarding hub on Facebook, on Instagram, on
yeah.
YouTube, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, and also the Sunshine series. They are doing
Yes,
an
please do
amazing
plug
job.
us.
So, so thank you, the Sunshine series, for sharing such practical and heartfelt insights in today's conversation. You've just reminded us that mental wellness is not a luxury, it's a daily practice, because without it, we would be stranded in this world that we have. So without further ado, thank you once again, Miss Annabelle. I'm going to be ending the stream now. And yes, do have a wonderful and a glorious evening today.
Yeah, you too.